It's blockbuster trading season in the NBA right now,
God,
guys.
right. Jason, what's going on?
I don't know. I was at a comedy show last night.
A month ago, we said, hey, the Nets, they're scaring the hell out of us.
Well, they were 112 in a row.
They were whipping
I don't think
everyone.
that was a month.
It probably wasn't.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, now they're like.
But we always knew this, right? Like we always knew that they were psychopaths and the whole thing could implode at any moment.
But you didn't think it was going to happen in the season.
Why not?
Well, you know what I thought would happen? They'd get hurt.
Well,
right, sure.
Either or.
Yeah.
And last night, as we were leaving the comedy club to go for a drink afterwards, we look up in the monitor, and there's Kyrie in a Mavs T-shirt in pregame warm-ups. And then I woke up this morning, and my phone was blowing up, and I thought, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Brooklyn clearly is just like they're in napalm mode, start over.
But they're not,
Here's what's so weird about the position Brooklyn's in, and this kind of ties into the Cavs. Houston owns Brooklyn's next 5 drafts.
I know they do. Wow.
So there is no incentive for Brooklyn to like blow the whole thing up and tank because they're not going to get the benefit of it.
Exactly.
Houston is.
So Houston also
and by the
sucks.
way,
Just
Houston owns the Browns draft for the next 3 years, or 2 years now.
Yeah, and to Mikey's point, so Houston has Brooklyn's pick this year. They have a swap next year. So even if Brooklyn is terrible, Houston's going to be terrible too. So on a swap, they would still get a decent pick, but it's not going to be as good as it could be.
Right.
So that's what's so. If they're going to move some of these other guys, if they're going to move Joe Harris or some of these
and
other
you expect
wings,
them to, right?
Probably, but I don't know that they're going to want to just keep accruing picks. Like they have to try and compete because it doesn't do them any good to tank. So they're in a really, really weird spot.
Has there ever been a super team experiment that's failed more than this one?
Probably not.
The other Nets won.
Well, the other.
Yeah, no,
you're right. One was 10 times worse. The other Nets one was 10 times worse.
But this one, as I'm just thinking back to, I have friends that are Nets fans, and you never hear from them. And all of a sudden, I keep hearing from them, we're going to win it all. We're going to win it all. The expectations were championship or bust.
Well, at least they got Ben Simmons now.
Wow, I forgot he was even on that squad.
I think I read that the 3 of them, that Harden, Durant, and Kyrie only played like 17 games together.
Almost never together.
That's a fact.
Yes,
Is it
almost
17?
never
But I mean, again,
together.
look who you're hitching your wagon to.
Yeah,
Right.
unreliable guys.
The Harden trade is what doomed them, really, because they threw away Jared Allen to Cleveland. They were so obsessed with getting Harden. That is the deal that has Houston owning their next 5 drafts. Like the Harden trade was an absolute debacle.
Here's what I'm curious about, guys. And Jason, you know the league the best, but I'm curious from everybody. Is like in the NFL, we talk about all the time the players have almost no power, right? A couple of guys, superstar quarterbacks maybe, but essentially the players have very little to no power in the NFL. In the NBA, it's complete opposite. The players have complete power of the league. Now, for me, I'm like, this is terrible for basketball. And I think a lot of older fans like us will say it's terrible.
I hate it.
I hate it. However, I don't know that it's actually bad for the game because I think a lot of young fans only care about players, don't care about teams. Am I overstating that?
You may be right, but I think that's bad for the league. I think you want to build fandom of teams, not superstars. Superstars come and go. These teams are going to be here forever. And so whoever was in on the Nets and now they're no longer in on the Nets, I think that's bad to have these floating fans of stars that are moving all over.
I've always thought that there's only a couple teams people truly really follow anyway. You know, people will follow the Lakers, people follow the Celtics. You know, if you get a team like Golden State out there, they'll follow them. But for the most part, people follow the Bulls back in the day. Most part, there's only a couple teams people are really diehard about. When you look at this move, I do say the owners, and I don't know how they're going to go with the collective bargaining agreement or how they're going to, split up the money. But I think the owners is just getting tired of it, bro. Like, these guys came there and they said the Nets were doing their thing. The Nets was just hanging out. Yeah. We got a nice little team. We got a young head coach. They had some guys back then, Karis LeVert, D'Angelo Russell, some other people. They made the playoffs. They said, Kyrie said, you wanted to come here. Then Harden was like, yo, you guys put it together. And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, so now you don't want to play here? I do want to play here. No, I don't want to play here. And finally they just said, listen, bro, get the heck up out of here.
And what's funny about that is, like, New York is supposedly one of the markets that players want to play in. But I know the Knicks are the more popular team in New York, but you're still playing in New York. You're living in New York, which a lot of single rich guys want to do. And yet,
it's still not Madison Square
Garden.
Exactly.
There is a clear delineation.
Yes.
Yeah, but who's the last
league?
superstar that chose to play in New York?
No, you're right on
Knicks.
that. But in terms of cachet with
Yes,
players,
no doubt.
LeBron loves going to the.
Yeah, that's
everybody
true.
loves going to the Garden.
Agreed. But still, players haven't chosen the Knicks.
But they don't-
Even
they
though
don't
that's true.
choose.
And I think that's in part because Dolan's an idiot.
He's a total idiot.
And they have they've never dropped a breadcrumb that leads to success, a trail to
Never.
success.
Never.
And because of that, I think guys would realize it would be a dead end. Carmelo, I mean, we could go on and on about guys that we thought were going there.
Right.
They were in the LeBron hunt.
Yeah.
When he went to
Essentially,
Miami.
since Patrick Ewing, they've been a disaster.
That's about it.
Pretty much.
That's about it.
You know, I mean,
They had
did
that one good year with Melo, but
with
that's it.
Melo, the 1 year,
Yeah.
but pretty much they've been but even that was just lucky.
And it
They
wasn't a deep
basically-
run, was it?
No.
They won a playoff series,
Miami
didn't they?
bounced them, I think. Didn't Miami beat them?
Yeah.
I think they
won
did.
I think they won one series. I'll double
Okay,
check.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
I mean,
they've been a zero franchise
for
for
me,
a long
success
time.
is make a conference final.
Yes.
Like if you make a conference final,
But it does make it challenging, right? Like, you know, like, and the thing that was missing, we were talking about this before the show, when Jay, when you and I and Jason and G, because you're not, you know, we're all 40 and older. When we were like in the 80s and the 90s, you had these long-standing rivalries
Yeah.
that would go on forever. Whether it was the Celtics Pistons, Celtics
Yeah.
Lakers, the Sixers, the Heat against the Knicks, the Bulls against the Pistons, the Bulls
out
against
west,
the
the Jazz had their years.
Yes.
The Rockets. You
Blazers.
can't do that anymore,
Right.
Because teams are at the mercy of these players that are so whimsical.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly believe that I said this 2 days ago. In the first couple of paragraphs of Kyrie's retirement,
Yeah,
it's going to sound like his career was a total disaster,
right.
because it kind of has become that.
Yeah.
You know, I just think, I may be, you know, I'm the Duke of knee jerk. I'm just saying, it just feels like that career, that little era where those players, they're done. Like
The Cavs, the
Durants-
Cavs Warriors is the only any kind of sustained rivalry over the last like 15 years.
I don't think Durant, I don't think Kawhi Leonard, I don't think Kyrie Irving, I don't think Paul George, I don't think Andre Drummonds of the world. That whole era where it was the middling era, I think they're done. I think they don't win any more
Jay, do
championships.
you buy that?
The league is trying to incentivize players to stay with their current teams.
Are they
And-
doing enough, though?
Well, I mean, keep an eye on this. I actually just wrote about this yesterday, posted on The Athletic, and some of it's already outdated because of the Durant trade, but most of it still applies. Like this ongoing CBA negotiation, keep an eye on that because they're trying, right now, teams can offer their own more than what players can earn in free agency, leaving free agency. And as part of the new CBA, I think you may see even more. Like the league's trying to do more and
Yeah,
more
because
and
that's
more.
been in place.
It has
You can
been.
make more to stay where you are, but
So
I
what are
think
they
what's
trying to do
happened-
now?
Beef that up even more.
But the problem, I think, is, Jay, is that these guys, we're talking about the movers, okay?
Yeah.
LeBron, Kyrie,
Durant.
probably your top 10 to 15 players. They don't care about whatever that extra incentive is over a long-term deal. They're going to make that up in endorsement deals.
Right.
And by the way, they're sitting on a pile of $300 million. So
Right,
what
right.
difference does
well,
that
those
make?
guys, you're not, and plus, like the guys I'm talking about, if they want to go somewhere, they're just going to go somewhere. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep Giannis in Milwaukee. They're trying to keep Ja Morant in Memphis. They're trying to keep Jokic in Denver. Luka and Dallas.
Well, they tried to
although
keep
Dallas is a really
Durant
small
in
market.
OKC. I mean, that's been a thing. But those big dollar guys are like, I'll take
Doesn't it
less
feel
time
like,
somewhere else.
and maybe we're being naive, but it does feel like Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee. I
mean, he won there, and he is the overseas.
He's a different type of guy
The
than these
overseas
guys.
guys are different.
They are different.
They are, and that goes in all
100%.
sports. Like even in baseball, the guys who come from the Dominican are far more loyal than
Look
the
at Jose.
Americans. Yeah.
They could get more punitive. I tell them, listen, if you are, I go by all NBA teams. Like all these dudes are superstars. They be doing three tier trades and like if you're all pro, if you're first team All NBA, if you first team All NBA defense, if you all stars, right? That means you're part of the league. You have different rules and responsibilities. If you want to be traded somewhere, it's automatic 2 first rounds. If you don't have 2 first round picks, you might as well not even, don't inquire. That's the league rule. And I would never give him a long-term deal. If you want to move, I would put it to you, if you want to be a mercenary, all those 5-year max deals, they'd be able to get 2-year deals.
And the players would never agree to those things.
No, they wouldn't.
That hurts the teams more than the players.
It would, because then you're stuck with, like, if in some of these situations, it has been beneficial for the team to move a player.
Yeah.
But it feels like the vast majority of them, I mean, this is twice now Kyrie has said, I want out, that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, I said it the other day. That's twice he's been on teams that had a chance to win a championship, and he said, no,
Walked away.
I want to go. And one other thing on what I was talking about trying to incentivize guys to stay, I'm not even sure that would work because they'll just sign the deal and then force their way out anyway.
Right.
It's sort of like Donovan. Now, Donovan did not force his way out of Utah. They blew that whole thing up. They did that on their own. But he signs this massive deal, and they trade him like a year later. Right. So, like, there is no perfect
solution.
solution.
With Durant, he signed the deal too.
There is no perfect solution with any of these guys. They're going to get their money, and they're going to get where they want to go. And this is, I mean, David Stern never allowed this to go on.
Never.
This is part of this is Adam Silver being the players commissioner.
Yeah.
This is the the players love Adam Silver.
They should.
But this is the downside to being the players commissioner.
He's handed them the key to the castle, and sometimes that can be abused. Let me ask you, now that the dust is settled, and there still may be another big deal, who knows, but now that we've got Durant and Phoenix, they've got a formidable squad, and the West is weird anyhow.
Yeah.
But now you've got Kyrie in Dallas, who looked pretty good last night, and how do things
D'Angelo
shake
Russell,
out?
I mean,
D'Angelo Russell now is going back to the Lakers. What a
Russell
weird
Westbrook's
going to
get bought out, right, by Utah?
I think so.
Yeah, I already think that there's either they've said or it's just massive speculation.
There's just no
They're
reason.
just gonna release him.
There's no reason.
He certainly
for him
don't want to play there.
No, and I can't imagine that anybody's going to be chomping at the bit to pick him.
Russell
By the
also
way,
in Utah, that was where he got in that little spat with a fan.
Yeah.
The racial
you're right.
slur.
You're right.
I can't imagine.
No, he's
he
not
would go
playing
to
there.
Utah and play
He's
there.
not playing there. And what a weird fall from grace he had. Like, I mean, he got old real quick.
Those guys who are built on athleticism, their whole game is athleticism and power. When they lose a step, they lose a lot. And I think we're seeing that with
Which it goes back to our point on LeBron yesterday. It's it's insane that he's at 38.
Yeah.
You know, he may have lost a half step, but whatever he's lost, he can make up for it in other
The
areas.
bottom line of this, though, guys, is
Would you take him in Cleveland?
Who?
Westbrook?
Yeah.
No.
I asked him walking out the door.
It took me a half second to
He
answer
said
that
no.
one.
No.
But here's the thing, guys. What this does with the Nets is now the Cavs are pretty much guaranteed to have a top 4 seed. Right? I mean,
Well, they're in the 4
Nets are
now.
going to tank. Or not tank, but they're going to fall apart.
Yeah, they're in the 4 now. I mean,
They're only a half game behind Philly.
and I'm not a big Philly buyer.
I think they're
talk
full
about
game.
I'm not
behind
either.
Philly.
Do the Cavs
Still.
act more aggressively?
No, because they don't have anything to trade.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it doesn't matter. Like Brooklyn blowing up doesn't mean okay, let's go now. I mean, you still have Boston, Milwaukee above you. Like
Right.
that hasn't really changed. You have nothing left to deal. You have a couple of second rounders to play with. But that's really about it. You're really close to the tax line. Everything stays the same. Now it does open up. You know, Brooklyn. Let's see how they spin this now. They do have a lot. They have a ton of wings. So maybe they start flipping some of these.
And some of
guys.
those would be attractive to the Cavs.
Of course they would be, but what are you going to give them? And that's why I have no idea what Brooklyn would want because they're in such a weird spot right
Yeah.
now.
They really are.
So I
I'd
don't
love
know.
the Cavs to get Joe Harris back.
I love Joe. I like Joe personally as a guy. I think he's great.
But you don't think that's likely to happen just because of we don't have the loot.
It would start with Karis LeVert, and because of the money, so
Right.
that's a perfect fit on the match. And LeVert is an expiring. I think Joe has one more year left after this.
Okay.
Joe would be a good fit coming off the bench. I know that there's interest in the Cavs. Before Brooklyn blew everything to hell, they had thought that they were going to bring that they are open to bringing Karis back. They'd like to bring Karis back for a couple of years. The big point with the Cavs is keeping their cap sheet clean going into 25-26 when Evan Mobley signs a max contract. That is when they absolutely will be a tax-paying team if they can put that off until then, because they've got so many young guys that are going to be making a ton of money in a couple of years. And again, to take this back to the CBA deal that's being negotiated again, at the other end of that, owners really want to sort of hold Golden State and Brooklyn and these guys that will just write crazy checks. They're trying to bring that down and balance the field out. with sort of the tax paying penalties.
Right.
Well, that's going to apply to the Cavs too.
Yeah.
So
And as you've said, you don't want to go in there early. It's very punitive.
Once you start that clock, you can't really come out of it.
Yeah.
But you could stay under and still trade, as you said, Karis LeVert for Joe Harris.
Karis LeVert for Joe, but I don't know
would
what
Kevin
that
Love's
accomplishes.
contract be valuable too?
Kevin's 35.
Who's gonna take him?
$28 million.
No, but just to,
It's a money match.
Right. Yeah.
But again, like, what? There's no value in Kevin, so what are you giving them
no,
of
I'm
value?
just to clear cap space.
Expiring deals don't be working no more. Like they don't. People. It ain't like it used to be. Oh, we got this.
But how much?
money.
What could the Nets get for Joe Harris? Like, how valuable is he in a trade?
As someone who watches the Nets a lot, let me just tell you right now, Joe Harris has been brutal. Like,
he's had a lot of injuries.
frankly, not good this year.
He's had a lot, but he's still shooting. What's he shooting from three?
He's gone down significantly recently. But
Royce
for the
O'Neal is
season-
the other one. Royce is shooting, I think, like 40% from three. He played with Donovan in Utah.
So, like, how much is it taking to get those two guys? I mean, it's not like.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe they would flip them for a two, maybe, but that's their twos aren't really worth
second-round
anything.
picks in the league. The Cavs really don't have nothing. They don't. Twos is you can't get me and Jay for twos.
It's stunning what teams are doing with their draft picks now.
I said that to Bull before the show.
I am blown away at how quickly Phoenix gave up. What was the total price?
4 first-round picks and
Four,
a swap.
because they wanna
really
win.
5 first-round picks.
That's
But
just.
they want to win.
I know you want to win, and I know that you've specifically
Yeah.
said it when talking about the Deshaun Watson thing.
Yeah.
I just don't think we've ever been in a place in pro sports where we're seeing teams take their biggest piece of draft collateral and just saying, take them, like they're licorice.
I said that to Bull when LeBron left the first time. I was on the Cavs beat when they were trying to stockpile draft picks and draft assets and trade assets. Teams were not throwing around unprotected picks like this. Like they were hoarding their picks. And the NBA has swung wildly to the other way of we just talked about Houston now owns Brooklyn. Utah's going to own the Cavs, by the way.
They
in
are.
A few years.
Yes.
They're going to own all of the Cavs drafts. And now we see where Brooklyn's going to own Phoenix's drafts, not for 1 or 2 years, for 4 years, 5 years.
It's just mind-boggling
So,
to
and-
me.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, like, draft picks are crapshoots. You don't know if they're any good.
Well, Houston just hit the lottery with the way Brooklyn imploded. And again, it goes back
Yeah.
to who are you hitching your cart to? The Cavs, those could be really valuable picks that Utah. And every time I say this, people get upset and think I'm knocking the trade. I'm not knocking the trade. Like they took their shot on Donovan. You got to push your chips in when you have the opportunity. That was the perfect fit with this team because he fits age-wise, roster-wise, position-wise. He fit perfectly. So you take your chance. And they still should have Darius, Evan, and Jarrett, even if it doesn't work with Donovan. So they should still be in a better position than what Brooklyn is. But it's a risk when you're mortgaging drafts 3, 4, 5 years out, man. You could really.
The
cripple
bottom
you.
line is, if you're Phoenix,
But go for a championship when you have a chance to win a
absolutely.
championship.
And Phoenix, it's a big if, but if Durant and Paul stay healthy, they have as good a chance as any to win a championship.
And Booker.
I think they have a good chance to get out of the West.
I'm an owner. If I'm an owner, I keep trying to tell people I'm 70 years old. I'm 40 now. If I'm 70 years old and I'm an owner, I don't give a damn about 12 years from now. This is my team.
Well, that's what Illich did with the Tigers.
If healthy,
I'm going to die soon, so I'm going out guns blazing.
Guns are blazing.
If Phoenix is healthy, are they the best team in the NBA?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so. Just because it's hard when you put two alphas together. It takes them some time to figure this out.
Right.
I think it's going to take Chris.
I think
and
they
Kevin
could
a
win
little
the
bit of time.
West.
Oh, sure,
I
they
just
could win
don't
the
see them
West.
getting past Boston, Milwaukee.
I don't buy that.
I mean, they could.
If
I
those
don't
guys
know.
are playing well, healthy, and they get to the finals, I don't see.
Well, per your philosophy of take a shot, like if you've got a shot, take a shot. They're taking their shot.
They've got a new owner there, obviously, who wants to make a big splash, and he did.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with Phoenix is guys love the Phoenix area. Obviously, the weather's great, but they hated Randy Sarver. The old owner was a scoundrel.
Yeah. Well, now it's the other way around.
Now it's the other way around. So
But they got an awesome team.
They had to give up Mikal Bridges. That was huge. He's one of the best two-way players. And you ask,
hasn't he been suspended all year?
No.
No.
No, he's been
Who am I thinking
Jae,
of?
Jae Crowder hasn't played all year.
Crowder has not played.
No. Who's the? Wasn't he? Was he his
They got
brother?
Cam Johnson too.
No, you're thinking of the guy on Charlotte who.
Oh,
Bridges.
yeah,
You're thinking
yeah.
of Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges.
Miles,
right,
yeah.
right.
So you look at you still got Durant, who's been injury prone. You still got Booker just came back from injury, and Chris Paul.
And DeAndre Ayton's a good player too.
If Chris Paul kill you, he hit you for 20 points.
Yeah.
Chris Paul really went off today.
My point is, if they're good enough, if they get to the finals, that means they're healthy. And if they're healthy, there's no way you can say that they can't beat Boston or Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they definitely
Can
will.
they? Yes, but I wouldn't put them in my top 2 favorites still. But I think that as the dust settles, back to the question, I think they're the big winners. I don't know how much Dallas is now this threat. I think they're better.
I think the Lakers clean up a lot of their problems.
I thought the Lakers had the best trades, Jason.
Really?
I don't know that that means they're going to win the West.
I mean, they're in
necessarily.
13th
I know,
right
but I'm
now.
just saying
Lakers?
they cleaned up a lot of their issues.
Yeah.
They finally got rid of Russell.
Yeah.
But I, you know what? I would have maybe bought that 2 days ago. But I think the elephant in the room is Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And just, I watched that video again yesterday. It popped up on one of my feeds, and I looked at it again. It gets worse every time I see it.
I know.
And now they at least have some pieces they can roll into like next year. They had a bunch of one-year dudes, right? But now you got Hachimura. Now you got D'Angelo Russell, who's not crazy, but he can give you some points. They actually have some movable guys they can get.
They got better from the perimeter. I think they're like dead last in 3-point percentage.
By the way, how dumb are the Knicks? Apparently the reason they couldn't get Donovan Mitchell is because they didn't want to trade Cam Reddish. And now they traded him.
No, I don't think it was.
No, they
Cam
want to trade
Reddish.
R.J. Barrett.
Yeah.
Oh, it was R.J.
He
Barrett?
was his Duke teammate back in the day.
The Knicks just have
They
too
don't know
many.
what they're
The
doing.
Knicks, when the Donovan deal was finalized,
Yeah.
I was talking to a couple people who involved who just said the Knicks just have too many voices in the room,
Right.
And nobody can make a decision because there's just too many cooks in the kitchen.
Are you guys?